Horse racing. Hello everyone. Horse racing is an equestrian performance sport, typically involving two or more horses ridden by jockeys, or sometimes driven without riders, over a set distance for competition. It is one of the most ancient of all sports, as its basic premise to identify which of two or more horses is the fastest, over a set course or distance has been mostly unchanged since at least classical antiquity. Horse races vary widely in format, and many countries have developed their own particular traditions around the sport. Variations include restricting races to particular breeds, running over obstacles, running over different distances, running on different track surfaces, and running in different gates. In some races, horses are assigned different weights to carry to reflect differences in ability, a process known as handicapping. While horses are sometimes raced purely for sport, a major part of horse racing's interest and economic importance is in the gambling associated with it. An activity that in 2019 generated a worldwide market worth around $115 billion. History. Horse racing has a long and distinguished history and has been practiced in civilizations across the world since ancient times. Archaeological records indicate that horse racing occurred in ancient Greece, ancient Rome, Babylon, Syria, and Egypt. It also plays an important part in myth and legend, such as the contest between the steeds of the god Odin and the giant Hrungnir in Norse mythology. Chariot racing was one of the most popular ancient Greek, Roman, and Byzantine sports. Both chariot and mounted horse racing were events in the ancient Greek Olympics by 648 BCE and were important in the other Pan-Hellenic games. It continued although chariot racing was often dangerous to both driver and horse, which frequently suffered serious injury and even death. In the Roman Empire, chariot and mounted horse racing were major industries. From the mid-15th, the spring carnival in Rome closed with a horse race. 15 to 20 riderless horses, originally imported from the Barbary coast of North Africa, were set loose to run the length of the Via del Corso, a long, straight city street. Their time was about 2+ minutes. In later times, thoroughbred racing became, and remains, popular with aristocrats and royalty of British society, earning it the title Sport of Kings. Historically, equestrians honed their skills through games and races. Equestrian sports provided entertainment for crowds and displayed the excellent horsemanship needed in battle. Horse racing of all types evolved from impromptu competitions between riders or drivers. The various forms of competition, requiring demanding and specialized skills from both horse and rider, resulted in the systematic development of specialized breeds and equipment for each sport. The popularity of equestrian sports through the centuries has resulted in the preservation of skills that would otherwise have vanished after horses stopped being used in combat. In Britain, horse racing became well established in the 18th century. It continued to grow in popularity throughout the 18th and beyond. King Charles II reigned 1649 to 1685. Was an avid sportsman who gave Newmarket its prominence. By 1750 the Jockey Club was formed to control the Newmarket races, set the rules of the game, prevent dishonesty, and make for a level field. Epsom Derby began in 1780. The 5 classic races began with the St. Leger Stakes in 1776. The system was complete in 1814 with 5 annual races. Newmarket and the Jockey Club set the standards, but most of the racing took place for small cash prizes and enormous local prestige in landowners' fields and in the rising towns. The system of wagering was essential to the funding and the growth of the industry. And all classes participated, from the poor to royalty. High society was in control, and they made a special effort to keep the riffraff out and the criminal element away from the wagering. With real money at stake, the system needed skilled jockeys, trainers, grooms, and experts at breeding, thereby opening new prestigious careers for working-class rural men. Every young ambitious stable boy could dream of making it big. Horse racing is one of the few sports that continued during the 2020 COVID-19 crisis. With Australia and Hong Kong as the 2 main racing jurisdictions to carry on, albeit with no crowds. The USA, United Kingdom, and France were some of the more prominent racing bodies to either postpone or cancel all events. Types of horse racing. There are many types of horse racing, including flat racing, where horses gallop directly between 2 points around a straight or oval track. Jump racing, or jumps racing, also known as steeplechasing or, in the UK and Ireland, national hunt racing, where horses race over obstacles. Harness racing, where horses trot or pace while pulling a driver in a sulky. Saddle trotting, where horses must trot from a starting point to a finishing point under saddle. Endurance racing, where horses travel across the country over extreme distances, generally ranging from 25 to 100 miles, 40 to 161 kilometers. Anything less than 25 miles qualifies as a limited distance ride or LD. Different breeds of horses have developed that excel in each of the specific disciplines. Breeds that are used for flat racing include the thoroughbred, quarter horse, Arabian, paint, and Appaloosa. Jump racing breeds include the thoroughbred and AQPS. In harness racing, standardbreds are used in Australia, New Zealand, and North America, while in Europe, Russian and French trotter are used with standardbred. Light cold-blood horses, such as Finn horses and Scandinavian cold-blood trotters, are also used in harness racing within their respective geographical areas. There also are races for ponies, both flat and jump and harness racing. Training. The conditioning program for the horses varies depending on the race length. Genetics, training, age, and skeletal soundness are all factors that contribute to a horse's performance. The muscle structure and fiber type of horses depend on the breed, therefore, genetics must be considered when constructing a conditioning plan. A horse's fitness plan must be coordinated properly in order to prevent injury or lameness. If these are to occur, they may negatively affect a horse's willingness to learn. Sprinting exercises are appropriate for training 2-year-old racehorses, but the number is limited by psychological factors as well as physical ones. A horse's skeletal system adapts to the exercise it receives. Because the skeletal system does not reach full maturity until the horse is at least 6 years of age, young racehorses often suffer injuries. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe.